Greetings, everybody. Gleekon here again with another episode of Lore of Warcraft. We are finally pretty much here to the point where we've kind of caught ourselves up. So well, first of all, on our last episode, we kind of got almost to the end of part 2. We have a little bit of wrapping up to do, where they summarize basically the Undead campaign in Warcraft 3. But we've basically finished all of part 2 of Arthas Rise of the Lich King, which is majority of it. Arthas is full evil. He is the slave of the current Lich King Ner'zhul, and he has killed his own men. Now he's getting ready to head back to Lordaeron, the Eastern Kingdoms. So stay a while and listen to this one. It's called the Dark Spears, which will set us up. Because this time, what has the Horde been doing? Well, they've been taking a long sailing trip across the sea. And they're going to wind up on, I don't know, the Echo Isles, wherever the Dark Spear are. Because that's where the prologue campaign takes place. So, the cool thing is, we can read this, and we might have a couple little things to tie up, and then we'll go back into the game. So, stay a while and listen to the Dark Spears. And remember, the trolls the Horde's kind of salty at the trolls right now because we fought some forest trolls, and much of us, the Quel'Dorei, have abandoned the alliance. The trolls have abandoned the Horde because both sides felt like, hey, you didn't help us kill the other respective parties, so now we're pissed at everyone. Far from Northrend, Thrall and the new Horde searched for a way across the sea. The Orcs had used ships in the Second War, but their fleet had long since vanished beneath the waves. Building new vessels would require time and resources that the Horde didn't have. Their only option was to steal ships, which we did on our last prologue mission. South Shore was the perfect target. Its port boasted a number of large galleons, and it was sparsely defended. Under cover of night, the Horde stormed into the town, but the Orcs did not massacre its inhabitants. Wanton slaughter was the way of the old Horde. With little blood spilled, the Horde commandeered the Alliance ships and set sail. I love it. Word of the theft reached Grand Admiral Dalen Proudmoore, commander of the Alliance Navy. He vowed to hunt down the Orcs, and he had no intention of capturing them alive. Dalen Proudmoore and his navy were masters of the open water. They quickly tracked down Thrall and were poised to devastate the Horde fleet, but fate had other plans. A monstrous storm boiled across the sky, and the seas churned in angry unrest. The Tempest battered the Horde and Alliance ships, tossing the vessels about as if they were little more than toys. Thrall and his people took refuge on a nearby chain of islands. The clouds eventually parted and the seas calmed. The Alliance Navy was nowhere in sight, but that did little to ease Thrall's anxiety. A large portion of his fleet had vanished in the storm, including Grommash Hellscream and the bulk of his Warsong Orcs. Whether they were dead or alive, Thrall did not know. Of more immediate concern was the condition of the ships the Warchief still had. The storm had damaged the vessels, and the Orcs would need to repair them before continuing west. The days ahead were not easy for Thrall and his people. They found themselves fighting enemies old and new. The storm had blown part of Dalen Proudmoore's fleet to the islands, and humans had fanned out across their shores. Moreover, the caverns beneath the isles were home to a Naga sorceress known as Zarjira. The hateful serpentine creature commanded an army of primitive fish-like beings called Murlocs. Cool. So we're going to fight the Murloc Naga alliance, all kinds of enemies. But Thrall did not face these dangers alone. He forged an unexpected alliance with another race that called the islands home, the Darkspear Trolls. The Darkspears had been part of the fragmented Gurubashi Empire in Stranglethorn Vale. For centuries, near-constant famine and warfare had plagued the Trolls. The Darkspears were not savage and ruthless like the other tribes, and that made them easy targets. They had suffered immense cruelty at the hands of their fellow Gurubashi before finally abandoning Stranglethorn. The Darkspears sailed west and settled on a remote string of islands. Thrall felt an immediate kinship with the Darkspears and their wise and elderly chieftain Sen'jin. He sensed the goodness in their hearts, and he saw many similarities between his people and the Trolls. They had both suffered oppression, and they were both in need of help to survive in a world that seemed determined to eradicate them. So this is good. So this is why we have the Darkspear that are the members of the Horde, because they're like the most peaceful of the Horde tribes and the coolest. The Horde and the Darkspears fought shoulder to shoulder on two fronts. One against the humans, the other against Zarzira and her scaly followers. Thrall and his allies prevailed, but not without great cost. Blood was spilt on all sides. Among the fallen was Sen'jin. In honor of the late chieftain, Thrall invited the Darkspears into the Horde. The trolls accepted, seeing little future on their war-torn island home. After repairing their vessels, the orcs continued across the Great Sea. Many Darkspear trolls joined them, but others remained behind for the time being. Leadership of the tribe fell to Sen'jin's son, a young shadow hunter named Vol'jin. He rallied what was left of his people and gathered as many supplies as he could. Then he struck out west after the Horde, hoping against hope that he and his tribe would find peace in the distant lands of Kalimdor. Okay, and we're going to have a short story that talks about this stuff, which is official on the WoW website. This takes us to the end of the prologue campaign, but like I said, there's a couple other little side things that we'll get into. But all right, that's really cool. So, and we are already like all the way through the human campaign, so we really just have a couple little things, and then we can get into playing Warcraft 3 for a while. Really big chunk of the game. Now, how far can we take it, and how much will I get to do before this storm puts me out of commission? We shall see. But in the meantime, we got another episode in the pipe, 5x5. And as always, I truly appreciate your time, and I hope you enjoyed it. See you next time on Lore of Warcraft.